Okay, now I have an exam tomorrow, and the exam, of course, is environmental law. So I thought, why not? Let's make a recording of it and post it on YouTube. Best thing, right? I have a study material, and I believe it covers almost all the topics that are necessary for the subject. There are like 204 slides to go, but then fine, we have to start somewhere. This is going to be a long video, I know. And this is a study material which I have been given by my professor. So so let's just begin with it, right? So before we go all guns blazing into it, I think it's a good idea if we just go through all the things that we will be going through in this recording. So one second, just scrolling on, we reduce the size. Okay, so we'll be looking at the meaning and the definitions of environment. Then we'll proceed to the meaning and causes of environmental pollution. Then we'll move to meaning, nature, scope, and sources of the environmental law. Then we'll come to the environmental law, whether it's a private law or if it's a public law. Then we'll be coming to sustainable development, followed by constitutional provisions for protection of environment in India. Now this is in the Indian context, as you would have come to know about it by this time. Anyway, constitutional provisions which protect the environment, and then we'll be looking into the fundamental rights for protection and preservation of environment. Then we'll be talking about absolute liability, and then the main in the Agenda 21, one of the most important United Nations conferences on environment and so on. Okay, then we'll look into Air Pollution Act. Then we'll be talking about air pollution control areas, then Central Pollution Control Board. Okay, this one is as per Air Prevention and Control Act, and this one is, I don't know, we'll figure it out, whatever it is. Then we'll be dealing with citizen suit provision, and then we'll be dealing with public interest laws and public interest litigations, and then sample of effluents procedure and all of those things. State Pollution Control Board under Air Prevention Control Act. State Pollution Control Boards, the earlier one which we did was central. Okay, so it's different. Then Water Pollution Control Areas and Wildlife Protection Act, and I believe the last thing would be the Indian Forest Act 1927. That's it. So these are the things which we'll have to cover. This is going to be a long video, but I guess it will cover almost everything. So fingers crossed. I just hope the recording and the thing goes all well. Good lord. Fingers crossed. Okay, fit to page. Continue scrolling off. We go to the very first slide. Meaning and definitions of the environment. Good. So the very first thing, the global problem of the present day is the environmental pollution, which is a serious threat to the existence and survival of the human race. As food, clothing, and shelter are the basic human needs, it is the same way unpolluted air. In the same way, we need unpolluted air to breathe, uncontaminated water to drink, and nutritious food and hygienic conditions to live in. And these are the basic necessity of human beings. Okay, so if there are any grammar errors or something, don't put it. Okay, I won't. Okay, since I'm making the video, I should be the one to blame, but then fine. Okay, wasn't really made by me. Fine. Uncontaminated water to drink and nutritious food and hygienic conditions to live in are the basic necessity of human beings. Okay. So man in making variety of efforts for progress and development caused huge damage to forests, wildlife, land surface, and water resources, which are part and parcel of the environment. So development and all caused huge damage to forests and all. The problem of environmental pollution is a global issue. So it's a global issue. Population explosion, poverty, industrialization, urbanization, overpopulation, advancement of science and technology, etc., are some of the factors which contribute to environmental deterioration. Deterioration. Yeah. So these things are, so we have like many things which causes environmental deterioration. We have population explosion, there's poverty on the rise, and then there is industrialization which is going on. We have urbanization going on, overpopulation going on. Well, overpopulation is a fact. Advancement of science and technology are some of the reasons why we have increased environmental deterioration. Thus, there is an urgent need to protect and improve the environment for survival of not only mankind but also the life of the planet. So, since we are someone who has a higher, thinking capacity, we are someone who have like someone with good intellect, and we can imagine things. We are, Homo sapiens. Then we also have a responsibility to take care of not just mankind but also all the things that are living, and also up to an extent non-living things on this earth. Okay, so earth is the third nearest planet to the sun, and earth and environment are interdependent and are inseparable. Earth and environment are interdependent and are inseparable. Okay. Hence, it has been usually accepted that pollution-free environment is very essential for human happiness and well-being of the society. Thus, every individual at large, voluntary organizations, and governmental organizations should realize the importance of protection and improvement of environment. Therefore, individuals and voluntary organizations and government organizations should realize the importance of environment. The three characters I have named here: individual, voluntary organization, and government organization should realize the importance of environment. Realize the importance of protection and improvement of environment. Next is the meaning of environment. A man is considered as an integral part of nature or environment, and therefore, so man is an integral part of nature. Man is an integral part of nature, and therefore there has to be a harmony and not hostility between man and environment. There should be harmony between man and environment and not hostility between man and environment, because man is an integral part of the nature. So the expression environment is a very wide concept, as it takes into account all factors which directly or indirectly have bearing power upon the natural surroundings of human being. So the expression environment is a very wide concept. Okay, so environment is a very wide concept, as it takes into account all factors which directly or indirectly have bearing power upon the natural surroundings of human being. Right. So the word environment is derived from the French. This is not environment. Environment is derived from the French term, which means environner. Okay. Environment is derived from the French term environner, and environner means to surround. Right. So from this word, the most well-known term of today, that is environment, is formulated and has become world famous. The environment in its etymological sense gives the meaning surrounding. So in its etymological sense, environment means surroundings. Etymological sense. Leads me to wonder what the hell is etymology. It's a study with me video. I've just given an overlook of things. I don't know of everything, okay? So we're learning together. So etymology means the study of the origin of words. Study of the origin of words and the way in which their meanings have changed throughout history. That's a good word. Okay, found out. So the word environment in its etymological sense means surroundings, or to surround. Basically the same thing. In French it means that thing, and from that it has been derived, so it has etymological. They have to name everything for uh, define everything. I mean, okay, well, it makes the world less complicated. It's not like you can define complicated stuff, but anyway, it's a different thing altogether. In its wider sense, environment is combination of the various physical and biological elements that affects the life of an organism. So it is a combination of physical and biological elements that affects the life of an organism. So environment is a combination of physical and biological elements that affects the life of an organism. Okay, next. Types of environment. Types. We have aquatic environment, we have terrestrial environment, and we have urban environment. There are three: aquatic, terrestrial, and urban. Now, aquatic environment includes rivers, seas, oceans, lakes. Let's use a different color, green, shall we? So, rivers, seas, oceans, lakes, aquatic, everything which contains water, basically. And terrestrial environment would be something which includes land, surface, hills, plains, deserts, volcanoes, etc. Of course, everything which is terrestrial or land like, so land, surface, hills, plains, deserts, volcanoes, etc. Right? And our urban environment, things which are made up of uh, uh, things which are made by us humans, most probably would constitute an urban environment, I guess. Yeah, but I think there are different ways in which you can classify the types of environment, probably, because if you say man-made and natural environment, this is also, a classification of environment. They haven't, I mean, covered that up. So I guess this is one way of classifying the types of environment. So urban environment will include concrete jungle, that is buildings, roads, industries, etc. Right. So aquatic, terrestrial, and urban environment. That's done. Next, definition of environment. Definition of environment. Now, this is the actual, like, this is the proper definition according to Section 2A of Environment Protection Act. This is the one that we have to refer to. Section 2A of Environment Protection Act 1986 states that environment includes water, air, and land. Okay, environment includes water, air, and land, and the interrelationship which exists among them and between water, air, and land and human beings and other living creatures, which includes plants, microorganisms, and property. So that is according to Environment Protection Act. This is the go-to act when it comes to defining the term environment. Right. Now, next one. According to Section 1, Clause 2 of Environment Protection Act 1990 of Britain. So, India takes a lot of reference of Britain as well. So, I guess that's the reason why this has been included here. So, according to Section 1, Clause 2 of Environment Protection Act of Britain, environment consists of all or any of the following media. Environment consists of all or any of the following media, and the media namely is air, water, and land. And the medium of air includes the medium of air includes the air within the buildings and the air within other natural or man-made structures above or below the grounds. So environment consists of all or any of the following media, and the media namely is air, water, and land, and the media air includes air which can exist within buildings or any natural or man-made structures which may be existing above or below the earth. That's a very complex definition, and since it's a definition, it's supposed to be written the way that it has been written here. Right, moving on. Dr. T.N. Khoshu, Secretary, Department of Environment, Government of India. This guy gives his own definition. Defines environment as the sum total of all conditions and influences that affect the development and life of all organs. Sum total of all conditions and influences. Sum total of all conditions and influences that affect the development and life of all organs. Development and life of all organs. Sum total of all conditions and influences that affects the development and life of all organs. Organs or organisms? Anyway, sum total of all conditions and influences that affect the development and life of all organs. According to United States Council on Environment Quality. This is another definition. According to United States Council on Environment Quality, environment means man's total environmental system, including not only the biosphere but also his interactions with the natural and man-made surroundings. So according to United States Council and Environment Quality, United States Council on Environment Quality, environment means man's total environmental system, including not only the biosphere but also his interactions with the natural and man-made surroundings. Right. So not only the biosphere but also man's interaction with the man-made and the natural surroundings. Okay, good. Next, we'll be dealing with meaning and causes of environmental pollution. So the word pollution is derived from the word polluere. Now, environment was derived from the French term. Pollution is derived from Latin word polluere, and polluere means to contaminate any feature of environment. Polluere means to contaminate any feature of environment. Definition of environmental pollution. According to Section 1 Clause 3 of the UK Environment Protection Act, or the Britain's Environment Protection Act, Section 1 Clause 3, the release into any environmental medium from any process of substance which are capable of causing harm to man or any other living organisms supported by the environment. So Section 1 Clause 3 of the Britain's Environment Protection Act 1990, the term pollution means the release into any environmental medium from any process of substances which are capable of causing harm to man or other living organisms supported by the environment. Release into any environmental medium from any process of substances which are capable of causing harm to man or any other living organism which is supported by the environment. This is a good definition. Section 1 Clause 3 of the Britain's Environment Protection Act. Well, we also have our own Environment Protection Act also. I believe we have that definition as well in this, but we'll go through it anyway. So the Royal Commission on Environmental Pollution in UK in its third report gave the following definition of pollution. We'll just go through it, we're not going to memorize this one. The introduction by man into the environment of substances or energy liable to cause hazards. Introduction by man into the environment of substances or energy, that is, substances or energy liable to cause hazards to human health, harm to So it has to be an introduction, it has to be by the man, and it has to be introduced into the environment, and the introduction should be of substances or energy that is liable to cause hazards, to obviously the health of a human, or harm to living resources and ecological systems, damage to structure or amenity, or interference with legitimate uses of the environment. It's quite a elaborate definition. Okay, so, and it was given by the Royal Commission on Environmental Pollution in UK, and that too in its third report. Okay, and therefore harm to, and so introduction by man into environment of substances or energy that is liable to cause hazards to human health and harm to living resources and ecological systems, or damages to structure or amenity, or interference with legitimate uses of the environment. Okay. American environmental jurisprudence defines pollution as. Now the next definition is from the American environment jurisprudence, and American environment jurisprudence defines pollution as contamination of the atmosphere or water, soil or air, which causes injury to right of an individual. Short and simple. Contamination of the atmosphere or water, soil or air, which causes injury to right of an individual. Contamination of the atmosphere or water, soil or air, which causes injury to right of an individual. Atmosphere is different from air. Just be mindful of that. Atmosphere is the blanket of, when it comes to thought, like, how would you actually, it's a blanket of air. It's a blanket of layers of gases surrounding a planet or other material body that is held in place by the gravity of that body. That is the atmosphere. Blanket of layers of gases. That's what atmosphere is. If you talk about air itself is not atmosphere. Air is what constitutes the atmosphere. So atmosphere is like a bigger picture, and air is like the constituent element of atmosphere. Okay, I'm not a scientist, but I believe there is a huge difference between air and atmosphere. Okay, so the contamination of atmosphere or water, soil or air that causes injury to right of an individual is known as an environmental pollution. Is known as pollution, basically. Okay. Next. So in brief, we can define environmental pollution as an unfavorable alteration of environment, largely as a result of human activities. So this is the general definition of environmental pollution. So general definition of environmental pollution is that it is an unfavorable alteration of environment. It's an unfavorable alteration of environment, and it is largely because of human activities. So unfavorable alteration of environment largely due to human activities. So in simple terms, pollution can be seen as In simple terms, you can say pollution can be seen as a wrong substance in the wrong place, in the wrong quantities, and at the wrong time. I don't know about time, okay? I don't think I should include time because pollution at any time is wrong to me. So I would not include this, but I will. I think it's definitely a very good idea to include the other stuff in wrong quantity, in wrong substance, in wrong quantity at the wrong place. That causes pollution. Okay, moving on. According to section 2C of C, now this is what I was talking about. We also have a definition for environmental pollution, and that is in section 2C of the Environment Protection Act 1986. So according to section 2C of the Environment Protection Act 1986, environmental pollution means the presence in the environment of any environmental pollutant. So it is the presence of course, the aeroplane. No, it's not even the aeroplane, it's a fucking jet. The jet had to do its studies now. And this thing will keep circling around my ears. Talk about noise pollution. Oh, even the glasses are vibrating. Wow. Okay. According to section 2C of the Environment Protection Act 1986, environmental pollution means the presence in the environment of any environmental pollutant. So if there is a presence of any environmental pollutant in the environment, then that is an environmental pollution. That constitutes environmental pollution. Section 2C of Environment Protection Act 1986, Indian context. Environmental pollution means the presence in the environment of any environmental pollutant. Now it becomes eminent for us to realize what environmental pollutant itself is, then only we can absolutely have an understanding of what environmental pollution is. So according to section 2B, here it comes again. One definition per time. One definition per round is what the jet is calculating. Awesome. Okay, according to section 2B for box of the Environment Act 1986, environmental pollutant means any solid, liquid or gaseous substance present in such concentration as may be or tend to be injurious to environment. As may be or tend to be injurious to environment. So environmental pollutant means any solid, liquid or gaseous substance present in such concentration, any solid, liquid or gaseous substance present in such concentration as may be or tend to be injurious to environment. Here it comes. Okay, anyway, this is done. So moving on. Environmental pollution refers to all the ways by which people pollute their environment. Really? No. I mean, this isn't a definition. Okay, there are different ways in which people pollute their environment. I wouldn't bank on this. Don't refer to this one. I mean, there are different ways in which people pollute their environment, and but that only results into environmental pollution. It is not like, okay, the individual ways in which they cause environmental pollution. I don't know what aim this thing here actually served, but anyway, moving on. People pollute the air with gases and smokes, poison the water with chemicals and other substances, and damage the soil with too many fertilizers and pesticides. Of course, environmental pollution means lowering of environmental quality at local scale caused exclusively by human activities, whereas environmental degradation means lowering of environmental quality at local, regional, and global levels by both natural process and human activities. So here we have distinguished between environmental pollution and environmental degradation. That's the purpose of this point here. So environmental pollution means lowering of environmental quality at local scale. Okay, so in environmental pollution, we are dealing with the lowering of environmental quality. We're dealing with the lowering of environmental quality at local scale. And in environmental degradation, we are talking about the lowering of environmental quality at local, regional, and even at global levels. Local, regional, and global levels is when we talk about environmental degradation. And when we talk about environmental pollution, we are talking about a lowering of the environmental quality at local scale. And in environmental pollution is caused exclusively by human activities. Environmental pollution is caused exclusively by human activities, and environmental degradation is caused both by natural processes and also by human activities. So there are two ways in which environmental degradation can occur. It could be both due to natural processes, or it could also be because of human activities. So that's another difference. Okay, moving on. It is commonly agreed that pollution is the outcome of urban industrial technological revolution and speedy exploitation of the natural resources, ever increasing industrial waste, urban affluence, and consumer goods. Pollution is the outcome of urban industrial technological revolution and speedy exploitation of natural resources, ever increasing industrial waste, urban affluence, and consumer goods. Modern industries produce industrial waste and toxic gases which are hazardous to human health. Okay, causes of now we have sorted so all of these things that we referred to here in this particular two slides before this one probably gives a brief introduction to the thing, and now we are listing it all out of what causes environmental pollution. So what causes environmental pollution? The first and the most important one here is rise in living standards. So when living standard rises, it needs more per capita transportation. So there is a need for more per capita transportation. You need more per capita energy, more per capita industrial production, and therefore produces more cumulative pollution. So rise in living standard is a huge reason why there is an increased environmental pollution going on. So why is because of certain things we need more, because with increase in living standards we need more per capita transportation, we need more energy, we need more industrial productions, and therefore so we talked about three things: transportation, energy, and industrial productions. We need more of these things, and therefore it causes an increase in the environmental pollution, because there is an increased, or it produces more cumulative pollution. So when living standard rises, it needs more per capita transportation, more per capita energy, more per capita industrial production, and therefore more cumulative pollution. Right, next, so that is rise in living standards. Next, second point, population growth. Population growth is a root cause for environmental pollution. It is a serious threat to the developing countries like India. Population explosion and rising living standard increase the discharge of waste products. Increasing population demands additional requirement of food products, goods and commodities. So with increasing population you need more food products, you need goods, and you need commodities as well. So further urbanization at faster rate increases density of population and accumulation of domestic and industrial wastes in drainages. Okay, so with increase of urbanization there would be increase in the density of the population, and there would also be accumulation of domestic and industrial wastes in drainages. Population and accumulation of domestic and industrial wastes in drainages. Okay. Almost all rivers in India, including Ganga, got populated as a consequence of overpopulation. Polluted. Okay, this is not populated. This is wrong. No, this is polluted. I mean, it's pretty obvious. I mean, what the hell am I doing? Anyway. So almost all rivers in India, including Ganga, got polluted as a consequence of overpopulation. So because of overpopulation, our Ganga is not pretty anymore. Anyway, in thickly populated cities like Delhi, the serious problem is air pollution. Yep, I'm very sure every one of you know. Well, it's a huge thing now. Delhi. What was the thing? I mean, if you stay in Delhi, if you breathe Delhi's air for like 30 minutes or something, then you're smoking. No, not 30 minutes. Like if you stay in Delhi, you're breathing like 30 packs of cigarette or something. I'm not pretty sure how much the calculation was. No, it's not that important, so we'll not go into it. Anyway. So the serious problem there is air pollution, of course, and deficit of oxygen in the air. So that's the problem with Delhi, and we talked about Ganga. Okay. And that was to do with population growth. Okay. This is not related to that. This Delhi thing is not related to population growth. This is related to problem with industries and the way they are disposing their wastes is what this is about. And the talk about Ganga getting polluted is because wastes and tanneries, again industry is another reason why Ganga is getting polluted. It is in both of these examples here about Delhi and Ganga is an indirect example to this thing about population growth. Anyway, so as this is a good thing. Like as population growth increases, we need more food products, we need goods and commodities, and therefore there is urbanization and all of those things going on. Urbanization at faster rates, domestic and so that's how he is relating it. He is relating, so therefore there is urbanization at faster rate, and therefore there is accumulation of, so therefore there is more industrial activities going on, because of which there is accumulation of domestic and industrial waste in drainages. Well, there has to be alternatives. There are ways in which industrial wastes are supposed to be treated before they are disposed and all, but that is lacking. So the problem here is not the development of things. I mean, it is a part of the international covenants also that development should not be hindered, but the way things are done should be changed. The way in which things are done has to be changed. Development goals must still be met. That's the part of the sustainable development thing. I'm mixing things here, but then the only thing that we can actually take from this thing is that as population increases, No matter how much we try to control things, the need for more and more will only result into more pollution. Okay, let's move on. Third, industrialization. The main source of environmental pollution is rapid growth of industrialization. Okay. Owing to advancement of science and technology, industrialization began in England in 1860 and scattered in course of time all over the globe. So it began from England in 1860. So once upon a time in England in 1860, there was advancement of science and technology, and therefore industrialization started there. Rapid growth of industrialization requires over exploitation of natural resources, resulting in ecological imbalance. So industrialization requires exploitation of natural resources, and that will cause ecological imbalances. Industries release noxious and hazardous gases into the atmosphere. See, now that has to be those effluents has to be treated. Anyway, industries release noxious and hazardous gases into the atmosphere. Well, up to some extent, even if you do manage to, um, you know, take care of the effluents, you'd still have some things going into the atmosphere that is hazardous. Okay, so when dust and smoke in the atmosphere combine with water vapors, so when dust and smoke in the atmosphere combines with water vapor, it forms smog. Smog, which is very dangerous for humans. In Bhopal, poisonous gas, that is methyl isocyanate, was released from Union Carbide Corporation, India. I'll never forgive the guy. Who was he? What was the name of the person who was responsible for, I mean, the principal? Bhopal gas strategy. Warren Anderson, I guess. It was Warren Anderson, right? Who is carbide? Who was he? Come on. Methyl isocyanate. There's no reference of Warren Anderson here. Or is it? Control F. Anderson died. Warren Anderson, of course. So I was right. The person was Warren Anderson. He was the principal, and well, I believe he was largely responsible because he did not place any precautionary method, precautionary machinery. I'm holding him responsible. Anyway, moving on. Further rapid growth of industrialization results in ozone depletion, acid rains, etc. Smokes released from factories. God. Okay. Smokes released from factories cause air pollution. Well, not okay, fine. It's just a general way of. Similarly, the wastes and effluents from the factories are released into River Ganga, and hence almost all rivers in India, including Ganga, got polluted. Well, not like okay. If we are to take the map of River Ganga, if we are to trace it, then we'd definitely find that it's a huge river. It covers a lot of area. If you look at River Ganga map and its tributaries, you'd see that it covers a lot of here. This is a map. Okay. So look at this. This is Ganges. This is the River Ganga. And if you are to, trace it out, it's quite huge. And not just that, it has a lot of tributaries also. So if this river gets polluted, then all of these rivers that are its tributaries can also have, are, not potentially, they also are, um, they are also affected. They also get affected because Ganga is, so those which are a direct tributary of, Ganga. Not just Ganga, even Yamuna and all of these rivers here are not really, are are, are ruined. I mean, they're really polluted. There's a lot of things going on there. Anyway, so similarly, the waste and effluence of, so we dealt with that. Next one, deforestation. So we covered three of them. One is rise in living standards. Second is overpopulation, and third is industrialization. Fourth is deforestation. So forests contribute substantially to national economy. Okay, forest contribute substantially to national economy. Forests are valuable national property as they provide raw materials to modern industries and timber for buildings. They are habitats for various types of animals and microorganisms. Forests also protect soil and its nutrients. They also help in regulating rainfall and reducing intensity of flood. They are potential source of fuel, medicinal herbs, and very survival of forest dwellers and inhabitants of adjoining villages depend on forest products. Therefore, they are immensely useful in maintaining ecological balance and a stable environmental system. In view of overpopulation, industrialization, and urbanization, the area of forest is getting reduced day by day, resulting in drastic changes in environment. So due to overpopulation, industrialization, and urbanization, we have large areas of forest being converted for these purposes. Thus, it would be seen that deforestation and indiscriminate cutting of trees from dense forest pose a serious threat to natural environment. Here it comes. The jet, of course, le jet. God, if I knew what. Alright, it's gone now. Anyway, in view of overpopulation, industrialization, and urbanization, the area of forest is getting reduced day by day, and therefore, because of indiscriminate cutting of trees from dense forest, it is posing a serious threat to natural environment. There is therefore a dire need to regenerate forests through plantation of native trees, herbs, and grasses. So that was about deforestation. They failed to mention the most important thing. I mean, forests are like lungs of the earth. I mean, they provide oxygen and maintain the ecological balance. Therefore, with more number of trees, if it exists, it can sufficiently take away carbon dioxide, which is the most important gas responsible for global warming, and it can be replaced with oxygen to maintain that ecological balance and to take care of, and also to take care of the increased global warming thing that is going on. God, HURBS. Well, anyway, this is done. Silly mistakes and all. Right, fine. The next one. So this is about deforestation, and the next one is development of science and technology. So the development of science and technology has generated scope for industrial development, which has brought with it problems of industrial waste, disposal, emission of toxic gases, and discharge of injurious effluents, resulting in environmental degradation. So we are saying that the development of science and technology is responsible for is responsible for generating scope for industrial development. And because of science and technology, that there is problems of industrial waste, disposal, emission of toxic gases, and discharge of injurious effluents. Okay, I will not agree to this, because I believe development of science and technology is also another reason why there is there is better ways of disposal of effluents, there is better findings, there are better inventions, there is better growth and development in the in human beings. There are so many things which science and technology has given to us, and it has also helped us in reducing a lot of these toxic gases and effluents and all of that. It's about implementing the things which are costly or whatever, but implementing those things so that the effluents and all of these things are taken care of in the way that they are supposed to be taken care of. So I wouldn't say this is the ultimate reason why there is an increased. Okay, this isn't like this would be. I would count this in the older period of time when industries were first being established and they didn't care anything about what effluents was being put out into the environment. Oh, here comes the jet again. You know, there comes a time when you're genuinely trying to make. Is genuinely trying to study well, and things like house flies, like there's one roaming around here, and that's even more disturbing. Like if it were like 5 or 6 house flies, I wouldn't care. There's just one of it, and it's circling right over my head. And not just, and we also have a jet. And there is this things which he has written. Development of science and technology is a cause for environmental pollution. Okay, for the sake of example, yeah. Okay. Disposal of emission of toxic gases and discharge of injurious effluents all results into environmental degradation. Fine. Reckless conversion of forest into plains, so that was deforestation, and commercial purposes and building up of multiplexes, etc., is causing deforestation and has damaging effect on soil. Right. Next. Therefore, there is need to evolve an environment-friendly policy based on principle of sustainable development so that natural resources are judiciously used for socio-economic development without jeopardizing the environmental ecology. Okay, so we need sustainable development. That's what this said. There is a need to evolve an environment-friendly policy based on principle of sustainable development so that natural resources are judiciously used for socio-economic development without jeopardizing the. So that natural resources are judiciously used. They are judiciously used for socio-economic development and without jeopardizing the environmental ecology. So that's about development of science and technology. And now we come to the sixth aspect, that is agricultural development. Yeah, now this is good. Like conversion of forest land into agricultural land is one of, if you go into the map, Google Maps, and if you just look into the world, okay, like if you look into what's here, okay, we reduce this thing, we go to satellite view. Where is satellite view? It's just a quick thing that I wanted to show. I mean, it's good actually. Like when you think about it, you'd be like, whoa, is that so? Satellite. So let's see here. Now this is a map of India. Look at the cover. Okay, look at the forest cover. This is all desert here. This area is now. Let's zoom into a place like this. See, these are all farmlands, and I didn't even know that this place is farmland. All of these patches that we see here, all of these patches, they're all farms. And I didn't even know like that this area would be having farm. But this is the scenario. So all of these areas here with reduced forest cover and all, it is largely because of conversion of forest land into farmlands. And with growing population, your need is going to be agriculture, and you'd need so much land for agriculture purposes. And that reduction in the forest cover, that contributes greatly to the increased amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. That I believe is one of the most genuine reasons. So agricultural development is one main reason. Well, it's not, you cannot say development, because well, if you talk about development, there would even be things which which does not pollute, like which increases the yield, so that you don't have to have so much of plantations going on, because it can serve the purpose for 10 people or something like that. So agricultural development is not something which I'd focus on. I'd say conversion of things into farmlands. I believe that is one of the way to write this thing. Anyway, so the expansion of agricultural land. You see, the expansion of agricultural land increases agricultural productivity. It is due to the development of modern scientific and advanced technologies, and by use of chemical fertilizers, productivity is tremendously increased. This has solved the production of growing demands of food due to ever increasing world population on one hand, but it has also created hazardous environmental problems of serious concern. Hazardous environmental problems of serious concern on the other of serious concern. Okay. Fine. Anyway, so it has also created hazardous environmental problems of serious concern on the other hand. The agricultural development degrades the environment through application of chemicals, fertilizers, pesticides, insecticides, through the increase. Okay, wait. Chemicals, fertilizers, pesticides, and insecticides. Okay. Now, not everything in this thing is dangerous. It it degrades the environment, or it degrades the soil through the application of insecticides, pesticides, and chemicals, not fertilizers. If fertilizers can also be manure, it can also be things. Fertilizers are something which promotes the quality of the soil, if I am not mistaken. Fertilizers are something which increases the quality of the soil. Any material of natural or synthetic origin that is applied to soil or to plant tissue to supply one or more plant nutrients essential to the growth of the plant. So I wouldn't call fertilizers a reason for degradation of the soil quality or the environment. I'd say these things like chemicals, because it makes it creates an imbalance, and pesticides and insecticides, they can cause potential degradation of the environment. Anyway, so that's because of agriculture, and the agricultural development caused several serious environmental problems with the growth of population. Anyway, so these are the main six reasons why there is an increased environmental pollution going on. So the very first one is because of rise in living standards, second is because of overpopulation, third is because of industrialization, fourth is because of deforestation, fifth is because of development of science and technology, and sixth is because of agriculture. Other than that, we have other various obvious reasons like use of plastic, dumping of toxins, oil spills, use of nuclear bombs, war, use of automobiles, submerging of idols in seas, rivers, etc., inefficiency of drainage and sewage system. Okay, so these are other reasons we have why we have a lot of population happening here and there. Okay, oil spills, dumping of toxins in sea. There's also use of plastic, use of nuclear bombs in war, and also automobiles is also another reason why there's a lot of things, a lot of pollution going on. And then there's submerging of idols in seas and rivers. Idols is another reason, and there is inefficiency of drainage. Inefficiency of drainage and sewage system. Okay. Oh well, here comes the jet again to disturb. Obviously. Right. It's like 1 hour has passed, and we've covered almost like 30 slides. So a quick calculation. I mean, how much 200 divided by 30 would be somewhere around 5. So it would take something like 5 hours for this lecture to get over. 5 hours. Oh my god. Okay, let's move further and do stuff. 1 hour. Okay, meaning, nature, scope, and sources of environmental law. It would be better if I cut it short here and make a second part, because uploading can be a problem. Nah, let's just go with it. As far as I remember, I mean, the last video I made, it was like 4 GB. So 4 GB for an hour long video. So for 5 hours it will be 5 for 20 GB. And do I have 20 GB? And can I upload 20 GB? Can I edit 20 GB of work? Good lord, I can't. I think I should break it here. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think we are. Yeah. Yeah, let's break it here.